So last summer, which was June of 2022, the VA Office of Inspector General released a report which covered its review of the VA's CMP exam contractors, how well they're abiding by their contracts and things like that. Now, there's plenty to talk about in that report. It's interesting in a whole lot of ways. But the thing that I want to talk about today actually has nothing to do with the main point of the report, but is something that just completely jumped out at me the first time I read it. So there is one sentence in this report that says that the VA is paying between $116 and $765 for each of these CMP exams. Now, you know that some amount of that money is going to the overhead costs for the three main contractors. And some amount less than that is what's going to the actual CMP examiner. So when I read this, it completely blew me away. And then I thought about it for a few seconds, and some other things started to make sense. First of all, no wonder you rarely, if ever, see an actual doctor performing one of these exams. Let's say you have a knee disability, for example. It is highly unlikely that one of these CMP exam contractors is going to find a board-certified orthopedic specialist who's going to review the medical records, provide an exam, and fill out a DBQ, and jump through whatever other hoops they have to jump through, all for, at most, $765. For comparison's sake, when a veteran goes out and hires a doctor for an opinion as part of their VA claims, the market rate, as it were, for those types of things is usually between $1,500 and $2,500. I mean, that's essentially double the high end of what the VA is paying for these. And that's a lot of money for a lot of veterans to pay to fight their claim with the VA. But I have to say, it could be a lot worse. So in a normal lawsuit, outside of the VA context, let's say a car accident case, if you bring in a doctor to review records and provide an opinion, you're probably going to be paying, on the low end, close to $1,000 an hour for that doctor's time to do all of that work. That's crazy expensive. And again, that's outside the VA context, so there's other different things to consider. You know, in the VA environment, the doctor's not going to be deposed. They're not going to have to go to court and testify and things like that, so that it makes it a little different animal. But the point is, when I saw that number that the VA is paying, and I compare it to what veterans pay, and I compare it to other experiences that I've had in other legal contexts, it was shocking. It was shocking how little the VA is paying for these exams. And overall, in aggregate, it's still a ton of money that the VA is paying out every year. But anyway, who's doing these exams? Well, if you've had an exam, then you know. It's nurse practitioners and physician's assistants. And they're typically a general practice nurse practitioner or PA. But even for them, in order for them to be making a reasonable amount of money for the time that they're putting in, they actually have to go pretty quickly. That gets to another problem, which is why these CMP examiners are rushing to get you out the door. It's also why the DBQ looks like it only took them about 5 minutes to complete, and they didn't include the most important things that you made a point to tell them and made a point to tell them that it's important. It doesn't often include the main records that you told them about. It's all because these examiners are trying to rush and get it done. Now, I do want to be clear. Some CMP examiners are doctors, and in some cases, they're required to be. For example, mental health exams have to be performed by a MD psychiatrist or a PhD psychologist. The VA doesn't have a choice there. I also want to say that some CMP examiners do a good job. And in the interest of full disclosure, my sample of CMP exams is definitely biased because people don't come to me and ask me for help when the VA gets their claim right. I also feel like I need to say I've got no problem with PAs or nurse practitioners. I have personally received excellent medical care from both types of those professionals. They certainly know more about medicine than I do, and they are certainly capable of giving good CMP exams. My main point, or main points, there's a couple, are that the VA payment structure for these CMP exams is not set up to encourage the examiner to do a good, thorough job to cover everything that they should cover for that veteran. And the second point really isn't even the examiner's fault, which is how the VA always essentially just blindly rubber stamps whatever the VA's CMP examiner says. And here's the kicker: they never bother to explain why they chose one CMP exam opinion over another. This is particularly troubling when the VA takes the opinion of a generalist physician's assistant over a board-certified specialist in that specific field. I have more to say on that topic, but I think I'm going to save it for another video. Now, you may have noticed that there's a huge gap between my last video and this one. Sorry about that. I was trying to get caught up on everything, and it just never really worked out. I'm going to try to do better this year. I see these videos as a way for me to help more people than I could otherwise help, because there's only so many people that I can individually represent. But I do represent as many veterans as I can, and if you'd like me to help you with your VA appeal, you can reach out to me through the links below. I do very much wish I could help more veterans. In any case, I hope you found this video helpful. I'm Al Walsh, a veteran who likes to help other veterans. Thanks for watching.